Welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean, the official supermarket of Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. It's funny, Mac, these days you're going to be like, oh, happy Thanksgiving or happy holiday to those who celebrate. You better celebrate Thanksgiving. Come on
Come
now.
on.
That's an American holiday right there. I
You
know
know,
you do.
I don't do any of that. I just say what holiday it is. If I celebrate, I say
Yeah,
happy that holiday. We just
I
kind of
like it.
roll. But yeah, Thanksgiving, the holiday spirit. You see me in a different place here, always in Sumter when it comes to some of this stuff. So we are throwing down on the grill, KG. I cannot wait. I'm excited for you to come and taste some of the turkey too. I know you're a big turkey savant. So we'll have some of that on the side ready for you. But it's going to be fun. I cannot wait. So look out for content. I mean, so much content. This is like one of the Super Bowls. The good thing with cooking is you got a bunch of Super Bowls, right? You got a bunch of different holidays that you can throw down for.
True.
This is one of them, and we're gonna have some fun stuff coming. So be on the lookout for that. KG, I know you're throwing down some fun stuff too.
Mac, my hot take, and I think actually people are starting to really believe this because they're smart. And I know you're going to do a turkey and it's going to be delicious because you have your ways. I think turkey is so overrated. All
Mm.
I want is the ham. I just want ham. That's what I want, Mac, to go with different things. I'm making a mac and cheese and I'm making a cornbread stuffing. So I'm very excited for
Mhm.
that.
Well, I think the correlation with that is we've seen a downward spiral of bullying. Like people don't bully each other anymore. And that's why all you ham people are coming out because you don't get bullied. And so you think you can just freely say whatever you want without getting picked on. But I'm not standing for that. All right. Get you some turkey,
You believe in
KG.
bullying. Yeah.
It works. Look at the college football playoff committee,
Oh
Just
my
saying.
gosh. That was well done, Mac. Well, any other ham people, if you're with me, and of course we're recording this before Thanksgiving, so just a little sneak peek. That's why I said I am making mac and cheese, and I'm sure today is Friday. In another world, it was delicious. So let's get to a message from our friends at Ingles, and then it's rivalry week. Mac,
Come
we
on.
have so many games to get into.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Mac, it is hate week all over the country. Funny enough, we're going to start with Georgia Tech because it is Friday, 3:30 on ABC. Number 4, Georgia, and number 16, Georgia Tech, they're playing at Mercedes-Benz, so neutral site. We'll see where the colors line up there. Georgia's a 14.5-point favorite. Funny enough, though, Mac, we have a video from last year of Brent Key when we interviewed him last year talking about Georgia and talking about what this game means to him, what these games mean to the ACC, and it is like blown up. It got
Mm.
30-something thousand views in November, and it's a year
Oh,
old. So
oh gosh.
if you've seen it lately, great. But I watched it this week because I was thinking back to that and to this week, and it was really cool. It's Brent Key basically saying, I respect Kirby, I respect Georgia, but I hate them so much. And so that's what goes into this game, Mac.
Yeah, no, there's no question. I do want to say there is that mutual respect. I mean, those guys have been on the road together recruiting. I think they were both at Bama at the same time. And it's just kind of funny, when you see that. And those guys probably joked about it. Like, what if one day you're the head coach of Georgia, I'm
Yeah.
the head coach of Georgia Tech, and we're battling this thing out? It's kind of cool, to be honest, to see two former players leading the way, two guys that are as passionate, as tenacious, as nasty, however you want to describe them, just how they were as players. And it's carried over to this and in the head coaching realm. And, two guys that are obviously doing a great job. Kirby, is a different beast, a guy that's won 2 national championships, have had unbelievable success. But, you see what Coach Key's doing, 9-2. I mean, 9-2 versus 10-1. That is nuts
Yeah.
to see these two guys, and it's cool, and it's really amazing, for the state of Georgia, obviously, and for this rivalry to thrive the way that it is. So that's kind of where it starts, and the pleasantries probably died last week, and it's all I'm trying to kick you right in the face when we walk in this door.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should mention, I have the old rankings written down here because we're recording this Tuesday afternoon. So maybe I'll just skip the rankings from now on because they will change a little bit. I think it will be top 25, Mac. I don't imagine Georgia Tech's going to fall out of the poll, but I mean, who knows with this committee? I'm just really curious when we look at this game specifically, where Georgia Tech is mentally.
Mhm.
You had so much in front of you in that Pitt game. You lose it, kind of dominated. I know you got back in the game, but 21-0. And your defense just looks so bad. And
Yeah.
this isn't the greatest Georgia offense we've ever seen, but they're still pretty good. And so I really worry, Mac, about this defense. And yes, last year's game was epic, right? And we've had close games in this rivalry the last couple of years, but you still lost. It still feels like there's maybe a mental hurdle with Georgia anyway. And now you're almost limping into this game.
Yeah.
I do not feel great about it from a
Yeah.
Georgia Tech perspective.
Well, what you should feel great about is when you see Haynes King start limping.
True.
It's a Super Saiyan mode. So maybe Georgia Tech right now has got them exactly where they want
Right.
them. You see this wounded animal, then boom, it just goes, does whatever it wants. But no, I think looking, kind of starting on the Georgia side, they've been fascinating all year. I've compared them a bunch to Miami of a year ago, just flying near the sun, just, trying to lose, games essentially. And then, the fourth quarter out of nowhere, they score 21 or they score 19 or whatever, it takes to put a game away. Or to win. That they have, played probably the last time out against Texas. That was by far and away their best game of the year. I mean, they just have not for an entire season been able to put 4 quarters together like they did against Texas, and even an exclamation point in that fourth quarter where they just really kind of onside kick and starting to pound Texas into submission there, winning by, I think it was like 25 points. So 21 of those coming in the fourth quarter. So when you look at these guys, they're figuring it out, and they're playing their best ball right now. So, probably not, super ideal for Georgia Tech, where, they couldn't really run the ball at first. They didn't know who was going to run the ball. Offensive line wasn't doing great, whether protecting or getting any push, and that's all changed now. They are moving the ball. They are running the ball very well. Gunnar Stockton playing as well as anybody in the entire country. I mean, that he and Haynes King are so similar in regards to they will do whatever it takes for their team to win.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to put it all on the line. So that's a little bit interesting in regards to just, a very much so struggling Georgia Tech defense. They can hurt you a lot of different ways, and they have speed and skill on the outside. You look at Branch there, the talented receiver that transferred, from USC. He has been dynamic all year long and really been one of their best players. And other guys have certainly stepped up. Those talented tight ends, Lucky, and number 4 there, Delp, are they're just good. They've got good players. So the interesting thing that probably Kirby hates every time he walks into the film room, this defense is not good. This defense is not who Georgia is used to having. They do not have a pass rush. They're very susceptible, to giving up the deep ball and giving up long passes. Still very disciplined, still, probably everywhere you look, 4 and 5 stars, but it just hasn't quite translated, to the field as we are used to seeing from a Georgia defense. Now, again, with all of that said, they are playing their best ball right now. They just hammered Texas. So I'm fascinated, just to see what this looks like. How much can Haynes King muster it up? Again, the hate of this game between everybody, particularly these head coaches, both are going to be motivated. But we said this on Sunday, Monday. It just feels like you have this unbelievable 9-2 season, but with that loss last week, it's all just like bleh. Like it's just dead. Season's dead is what it feels like. You go out and win this one, it's all right back. And who knows? I don't think playoffs are in discussion just because the committee's kind of showed us our hand. But maybe it is. Maybe it is. Other crazy things happen, and maybe some teams help you out there. So we're very interested to see what all shakes out in this game and how.
The positive for Georgia Tech, what I like for Georgia Tech in this game is for the first time, probably since, I don't know exactly if this is right per Vegas, so don't quote me on it, but the feel, for the first time since maybe that Clemson game week 3, you are the underdog. And I think they were an underdog against Clemson. Now, of course, that was wrong because Clemson's not any good. But they finally get back to that underdog role.
Yeah.
which is what Brent Key has thrived in, right?
Mhm.
He's so good as an underdog. This is from intern Nick. Against ranked opponents, Coach Key is 6-3 against the spread. And as an underdog since 2023, which I think is maybe when he took over the year before, Mac, he's 12-5 against the spread. Like, they relish that role. So maybe there's a positive there for Georgia Tech. All the pressure has been on them
Mhm.
since probably the Clemson game or since beating Colorado. But
Right.
now the pressure really isn't on you. And so maybe Georgia Tech can flip the switch a little bit there. And Georgia does, you point out with their defense, they are giving up a good amount of rushing yards, and they've had some issues there. And Georgia Tech runs the ball really, really well. So maybe there's something you can take advantage there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be fascinating to see. Just, again, looking at all those things you pointed out, the fact that it's 14.5, that feels crazy.
Huge.
I'm definitely taking Georgia Tech to cover. If last week didn't happen, I'd be confident that they could make it a game and win it. Not to say that they can't. I don't know. You've showed me who you are these last 3 games, and I just don't think going against the number 4 team in the country is going to be favorable when you've struggled with NC State and Boston College and lost to Pitt. So, it's certainly one of those things. Are they still a great team? Yes. Do they still have fantastic pieces? Absolutely. It will take a Herculean effort to beat these guys, and you will have to play perfect, or they will have to play terrible. One of the two will have to happen. And, I just kind of think that Georgia is so locked in right now. They understand, that they were kind of, embarrassed by Alabama at home. They were said all these things about them, and here they are, hard to kill, 10-1. So give me the Jackets to cover, but the Dogs to win.
Mac, I agree with you on the fact that Georgia's playing well. I am very worried about Georgia Tech in this game. I actually think Georgia covers. Mac, that defense, we're talking Old Testament level Georgia Tech's defense. Old Testament parting of the Red Sea situation, okay? Like, that was, and Pitt, we're going to get to Pitt. We're going to get to you, Pitt fans. We know you're not happy with us right now. But that defense worries me so much, Mac. And the fact that it's in Mercedes-Benz, there's going to be so much red in that building.
See, but what's interesting, and the only reason that I'm on this thinking track is Georgia Tech won that good last year. They won 7 games, and Georgia was really good, and they almost beat them then. And that was a good Georgia defense and a good, this and that. I don't know. Maybe the defense is worse. Maybe the defense is worse. I don't know. Maybe they are.
It looks rough. I also just wonder where Georgia Tech is mentally. We've talked about that. But we'll see. Hopefully it's a close game, and that game is Friday night. There's going to be a lot of eyes on it, just like it was last year when the game was epic. Okay, speaking of Pittsburgh, let's get to this game. Number 13. No, well, again, I gotta stop saying the rankings because they're null and void. Miami is at Pitt. Okay, Pitt might be ranked. They probably should be. Miami's a 6.5-point favorite. Noon on ABC on Saturday. These two have not played since 2022, believe it or not, and that was a game that Pitt won handily. So keep that in mind. Mac, let's just address this because the Pitt fans are not thrilled with us at this time because the way we talked about Pitt, Georgia Tech, we really talked about it from a Georgia Tech perspective. Now, here's where Mac and I are in this roller coaster of a season, right? Pitt has embarrassed the league out of conference. So it's really hard to get excited when they go knock out a team that had a legitimate chance of making the playoff. It's that simple. It's nothing against Pitt, but you've embarrassed the league out of conference. You lost to West Virginia, which is really bad.
Bad loss.
And you were blown out by Notre Dame. So, yes, you've had some good wins, and you've been in the rankings, which is great. Love that. But it's tough when you're not even in the playoff discussion and you knock out a playoff team. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it is. And, I think, it's frustrating. Just be who you are. Play to the standard every week. Because to be honest, it didn't even look the same against Georgia Tech. Like the tenacity, the intensity,
it was so different.
Nastiness from the defense. I saw dudes laying down, getting their head bounced off the turf. That's what I saw when you played Notre Dame. And maybe they're just that much better than both those teams. I guess.
And you were there, Mac.
Yeah,
you saw it in person.
Oh, I saw every bounce off the turf. I saw that. So it is frustrating. And, Mason Heinschel looked great against Georgia Tech and really found his guys. And I think what I was most impressed with, and I think we covered this, maybe we didn't, and I'm sorry if we didn't, most impressed with the fact that they got up so big. Georgia Tech steals back momentum, and then they just take it back. They steal momentum, then you take it back. Like, you never really were concerned or never really were in doubt how your team performed, and that's a lot. And by the way, you did that without Desmond Reed. You did that without your best weapon,
Right.
and a freshman had to step up and do his thing, and the defense did great and scored 100-yard pick six. I mean, that's great. That's fantastic. So I guess I'm saying all of that to say, don't do it again. Lay down, take this L, let Miami get
You're
out.
doubling down, Mac. Oh,
I already said
no.
it to Duke. You have no business winning this game, so don't do it. With all that said, you're probably going to smoke these boys, and it's going to tick me off. And Virginia Tech going to do something similar. We'll talk about that game in a second, KG.
Yeah, it's so that would be the ACC situation to happen. Absolutely. And again, it's not like from an ACC perspective, that's what you want to see. Mac covers the league. Mac wants to go cover the playoff. Like, that's just the reality.
Right. That's right.
So of course, that would be nice for the league, but is there a way Pitt wins this game? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we've got to give Pitt credit for what they did Georgia Tech, which I think we did.
Absolutely.
Heinschel was fantastic. He looked really rough against Notre Dame, but then to be able to bounce back as a true freshman, put that game behind you, and have that type of performance. Boozy Turner was electric. That's the other thing that we did talk about. You beat Georgia Tech, you go down there and you win without Des Reed. That's crazy. And that's because Turner he looks like he could be a star, Mac. So I think this is a very scary spot for Miami. You're going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's going to be cold. It's a nooner on ABC. And we've seen Miami with their season hanging in the balance, blow it quite a few times in November. Last year at Syracuse, of course, comes to mind. I think my big question this game, Mac, and you can speak more to this, at times this Miami offensive line that, maybe should be the best in the country has really disappointed us. And you've got this Pitt defense that's going to bring blitz after blitz, try to rattle Carson Beck. He's not as mobile, right? How can that O-line show up? Can Carson Beck make the right decisions in a tough environment, in the cold? That's what I'm really curious about.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about cold. It's going to be like 34 degrees. I mean, it's going to be
Sounds
cold.
terrible.
It's going to be really cold. So, can these guys play to that level? Like, and here's the deal too. Here's what I would kind of, be saying to them. We're changing to the Miami side here. Is, do you want to play in the NFL? Because you're going to play in the cold. Okay, you're going to go cold places. You want to
You'll
play
play in
for
that very
Buffalo?
stadium.
Yeah, you want to play for the Packers? You want to play for Buffalo? You want to play for these teams? Baltimore, like Steelers, it's cold. It's very cold. So, you just gotta ball. You gotta play. Football's football. Doesn't matter the temperature. As long as it's not raining. A little cold never hurt nobody. All right. So I am interested to see just how they want to handle that. I mean, obviously, the last game we saw Carson Beck be very efficient, throw the ball very, very well down the field, finding guys wide open against a Virginia Tech team that wanted to take away the run, and they did successfully. I mean, I think Miami was under 100 yards there. Can you have more balance? Can you find more balance? Can you get your big nasties out in space and run that football? Because as you mentioned, Pittsburgh is going to blitz. They're going to send guys. So what happens with that is it is hard to target, okay? Because it changes your points. Like, let's say you and I are the guard and tackle, and we're trying to go over here to the right. Well, that guy's going to now blitz and go this way. That changes our pattern. That changes the running lane, and can just confuse people. But if you catch it, and if you get them, then there's no help there. And you can really get your running backs going in a hurry there. Carson Beck he's so cerebral and certainly smart enough to see it. I guarantee there's going to be built-in screens. There's going to be built-in checkdowns to where he handles that. Like that's what's so unique about him. Like I look at, who Pittsburgh has played. Haynes King should be able to handle it. Not really what they do. You've got Notre Dame, Stanford, NC State, Syracuse. Younger quarterbacks, inexperienced quarterbacks that maybe can get a little bit confused by the blitz, maybe haven't seen all those different things. This guy came from Georgia. He knows every blitz known to man. Like he's seen it 100,000 times in practice. And so there should be built-in outliers. He should, be able to know where to go with the football and have things built in there where he can get you and kind of have an answer for those blitzes. Now everybody else has to be on the same page. We can't have a guy running the wrong route. That ball goes somewhere and there's nobody but a defender sitting there. So it will be interesting to see, and is this the last, time we see Miami before the final rankings come out? So they want to make some noise too there. So this is a bit of a resume booster. I don't think you'll have the opportunity, to win by like 40. But if you can, you got to do it. You got to take it. So we'll see kind of where Miami's head is at and just how much they want to execute right now.
You might need to, Mac, because this is a common opponent with Notre Dame. We've talked about that forever. And Notre Dame is playing Stanford this week, and that's another common opponent. Yeah. And Miami turned it on the second half against Stanford, blew them out. It would probably help Miami if Notre Dame doesn't look great at Stanford, but something tells me they probably will. Speaking of that, this is an interesting number to look at. Miami right now, this is on Tuesday, is a 6.5-point favorite at Pitt. Notre Dame was a 12.5-point favorite at Pitt and easily covered that. So just as we continue to compare these teams ad nauseum, because that's what the committee is doing, Pitt still has the number one scoring offense in the ACC and 12th in the nation. So they've been able to score, especially since Mason Heinzel took over. And Mac, I feel like this Miami team, sometimes part of their issue, maybe the Louisville game specifically, I don't think they do well playing from behind. Just because they're pretty methodical. They haven't been as explosive. We talked with D-Money about that last week. So getting off to a quick start would be crucial for me if I'm Miami in this situation, in this scenario. I still think that's a low number. Like if it was 12.5, like what Notre Dame was, I'd probably take Pitt to cover. Yeah. I do see Miami winning this, I think by a touchdown, maybe 10 points. So I like Miami to cover, even though it's a scary spot.
And it is interesting too, the total is so low too. It's 50.5, which you just mentioned the best, offense, percentage wise in the ACC in Pittsburgh.
Two really good offenses.
Yeah, very competent, in Miami there. Also interested to see who's available for Miami from the defensive, area there. Guys able to come back, a couple of their really good players, who's out for the season, who again is able to, muster it up and play there. That's kind of where we are. That's a big indicator right now of how good a team is really going to be. So I'm with you though. Give me Miami. I will say this. I will not be shocked at all if Pittsburgh wins this game, but Miami needs to flex their muscles, understand where they are. And it's very different. Obviously, Miami was, I believe, undefeated, number 2 in the country. Same situation. They go up there. Freshman Kenny Pickett says, "Hey, take this L. We'll see y'all later. Have fun." So we'll see. We'll see if history repeats itself there. But I think the Canes get it done.
I would be surprised.
Would you?
I would.
This year?
Well, maybe not this year. I don't know. I feel like Miami's like this is a program game for
these
Miami.
boys lost to Syracuse last year with a trip to the ACC on the line.
Well, it was our guy, Kyle McCord, He's pretty good. Okay, Mac, the most ACC thing of all time would be if Virginia Tech beats Virginia. Virginia Tech and Virginia will get together, 7 o'clock ESPN on Saturday. It is at Virginia, which really bodes well because Virginia cannot win at Virginia Tech. So it is in Lane Stadium. Thought this was high, Mac. Virginia's a 9.5-point favorite. That may be the highest spread for Virginia all year. That may be against an ACC team. Like, that's kind of crazy, Mac.
Big number.
And then when you look at, you mentioned, we've talked about this series overall. Virginia Tech leads the series 62-38 with 5 ties. Virginia Tech has won 19 of the last 20 meetings. You don't just throw that out of the window. Yeah. I feel like they say in a rivalry game, you throw the records out the window. Yes, maybe they're records as in the records in the season, but 19 of the last 20, Eric Backlane.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It was a lot like, Louisville when they were stuck in that rut, not as significantly as long at all.
Not as bad as this.
Twisted there, but it was just
Mac, it reminds me a little bit of the Gamecocks and the rut they were in.
Sure. But you just think that this, Louisville team is better than Kentucky and this is the year and they just can't. They just, for whatever reason, they can't get it done. And that's been a bit of this Virginia team too. The one team that obviously beat them, went on to the ACC Championship, was a great team led by Bryce Perkins and, head coach Bronco Mendenhall. It was a great year, great season. Now you got to do it again. You have to beat these guys and you're in. This is a clinching game, to get to the ACC Championship. And then you have an opportunity to win and go to the college football playoff. I mean, that's what you want. You want to control your own destiny and just a little hurdle in your way, just something you've done once in the last 20 tries. Not that big of a deal. All good. We'll see. I mean, on paper, it should clear as day that these guys can win this game. Chandler Morris and company, Taylor running the football, guys on the outside making big plays. Defense has stepped up in the last couple of tries here. They're playing good football. I mean, Virginia has been really fun to watch. And of course, they are coming off a bye. So you've had 2 weeks going into this thing after hammering Duke, where everybody, myself included, thinking, here we go, code blue is about to happen. And they shut it down. So what team shows up? How healthy are you? Great that you had that break in between. And now you have that reset, and let's go on a playoff run. The playoff literally starts right now for Virginia. And you're going to have 2 extra games because you need to win both to get in and then keep going and try to achieve your big goal there.
That's a great point, Mac. I mean, that's just how important this game is for a variety of reasons. Virginia hasn't even covered since 2019.
In this game?
In this
Okay.
game. Yeah.
I was about to
No,
say,
not ever.
Ever?
That'd be tragic. That would be really bad. But I remember saying this when we did, I believe, our Virginia Tech preview back in August. I thought it was really unfair that Virginia has a bye before this game and Virginia Tech had Miami. Like the complete opposite of a bye. I don't know how.
It works out really well right now, though. Could be great.
Yeah, well, for the ACC.
The ACC,
but
no. The ACC,
I don't
no.
think that should ever be the case. You should never, in a rivalry game like this, have one team coming off a bye and one team not. I think that's really bad. But whatever. It is what it is, and it's going to help Virginia, I think, because they need to get healthy. Virginia right now, 9.5-point favorite. S&P Plus rankings makes Virginia nearly a 17-point favorite in this game. The big thing for me, Mac, Virginia Tech is so one-dimensional. Like, they literally can only run the ball. So Virginia, if they could be complimentary, Chandler Morris has had a week to heal up even more, even though he was coming off a great game. I don't want to overthink this one. I think Virginia wins. I actually think Virginia Tech might cover. I think it's going to be there's just too many demons to exercise if you're Virginia to go win this game by 10 and cover easily. I feel like it's going to be stressful, Mac.
Yeah. I need you all to do some history, do some research, look up what I'm about to say.
Oh, no.
Why I'm saying it. Not the obvious, though. Don't think of just the obvious thing. Virginia Tech money line. Virginia Tech's going to win this game. They're going to beat the Who's. Go look up why I'm saying that, and you'll understand why. You'll understand.
I hate this so much. All right. Well,
it'll work out. It's for the betterment of the league why I said that. You'll see. Interesting.
Okay, let's look at, speaking of a team that also can make some things happen for themselves this weekend, SMU. SMU is at Cal. SMU's 13.5-point favorite, 8 o'clock, ESPN2. I'm not sure that we have much to say about this game. We did talk to Rhett Lashley.
He said it all for us.
Mac did a great interview with Rhett, so go listen to that if you want more SMU content. Cal just fired their coach, even though they're bowl eligible, which is kind of crazy. Cal has been arguably, well, there's been a few in this league, one of the most up and down teams this entire year. Truly. I feel like you do not know what you're going to get from Cal every single day. And SMU has been so consistent. SMU handled their trip to the West Coast well last year. I'm not sure that's going to be as big of an issue for them. They're playing at 8 o'clock Eastern. That should be fine. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think SMU understands what they have in front of them. They're playing their best football right now. They're red hot. I think they win and they cover here, Matt.
Yeah, they are red hot for sure. They're playing really high level football, and this will be, for obvious reasons, but also because of who the quarterback is, their final test. Like, is their pass defense that improved? At the back half of the season, the second or the last month of the season here, like it is on paper, because we'll find out. Sangapolatele is going to find weaknesses because they're going to throw it a ton. They're really good at throwing the football. And interestingly enough, they actually have ran the ball okay. Like it's kind of weird, because when you just watch them and I'm seeing them, I'm just like, golly, these guys can't run the ball. Then you kind of look, 10,000 feet up. You're like, oh, well, it's not terrible when they do that. But this SMU defense has been feast or famine for the entire year, have really locked in this last month. They're going to hit you. They're going to get in the secondary and make plays. They lead the world in turnovers, lead the ACC in sacks. Got some pass rushers back last week, which is good for them. Bad news for Cal. And Kevin Jennings, I mean, is so good. That dude, he's really, really fun to watch. I think when I kind of do some end-of-year review stuff and really just kind of look, again, big picture, I'll really appreciate it more, just what he was able to do, especially being hurt all year long. I mean, his superpower has been taken away from him, and yet still he's thrown it for over 3,000 yards. He's brought the turnovers down, 24-plus touchdowns with his arm. He's a really, really good player, and we're seeing other guys step up, kind of figuring out the run game. SMU still want to see a little bit more, but I think a huge piece of that is KJ being hurt, obviously. Give me the Mustangs. Give me the Mustangs to cover and make a statement, get back to Charlotte 2 years in a row. What an accomplishment. What an investment. Really, really amazing what they've been able to do.
So SMU wins out. If Virginia wins, they're going to play each other.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
If they don't, crazy things can happen. I don't really want to get into that right now, but those two control their own destiny. Let's get to the rest of these games, Mac. It's so funny to do like a rivalry week pod, and we haven't.
And we're getting to the rest of the games now.
Yeah, we haven't even hit on Clemson, Carolina, Kentucky, Louisville, Florida, Florida State, North Carolina, NC State. Like, what? This is so crazy. But I mean, those are obviously the games that matter the most, the first three in terms of nationally and SMU. So Clemson is at South Carolina. Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite. Noon, SEC Network. South Carolina won this game last year at Clemson. It was tough to watch. They won 17-14. Clemson won the year before in Columbia. South Carolina won the year before in Clemson. I was at that game. That game was actually the toughest of all to watch, I think. And then Clemson won a million before that. Clemson has not lost in Columbia since 2013, Mac.
I was on the team.
You were on the team.
Yeah, it was great.
That is a wild stat.
You want me to tell you about that game?
Please,
Let me tell you some really fun and interesting
Walk
things.
us through that.
So we're playing in this game, and we are running the ball at will, like 7 yards a pop, cannot be stopped, just running down their throat. And then out of nowhere, we call a trick play, pass. And I think Sammy threw it or Adam threw it. Somebody threw it. It was a pick. And we're just like, oh, my God. And then the next time, it was like a fumbled punt and just it broke loose. I mean, the dam broke loose. And it was just there was nothing we could do. And, as much as I love Taj, and he was such a great player, when he played Jadeveon Clowney, it was his kryptonite. Like Brandon Thomas would be doing an unbelievable job on the left side, locking this dude down. And Taj would like run into Jadeveon's arms. It was just like, what is happening? This is so dumb. So dumb. So that was nice to relive that for just a second there.
You're welcome.
This is an interesting game just because you have two teams, and I don't know if I've said this on this podcast or not, but Shane Beamer and I are friendly. Like, I don't know if I'd call us friends. We've never like shared a meal or anything like that together, but we are friendly and we talk, from time to time. And I just have a lot of respect for him and what he does. Hate that he's there. Hope that, y'all fire him and he can get a better job somewhere else. I hope that happens. Because he doesn't deserve that. But we were texting back and forth in the preseason, and this was like right before game week, and I texted him and was like, super excited for y'all this season, pulling for you every game but the last one. Let's let the state of South Carolina run the college football world, because they were top 10, we were top 4. All these things. And it's so exciting. And he's like, he sends back a really nice message, whatever. And, of course, the season goes the way it goes. And, both teams stink and can't get out of their own way. And just, when he fired, his offensive line coach, I went back to text him because it's the worst thing. Like when you have to fire a coach, it just stinks. And I saw that message there. I'm like, I am such an idiot. I don't know anything about football. But at the end of the day, you win this game and it'll change the season. It'll change your outlook on something positive to glean from for people that grew up in this state, that grew up cheering for the Tigers or cheering for the Gamecocks. And, as bad as both of us have played, you can hang on to that and you can live with that and you can brag about it, for a full year there. So I don't know what to expect. I mean, again,
Yeah.
both teams have been so good, have been so bad, at different times, obviously more consistently bad. I think of, how Lenore Sellers handled Clemson last year and
Mm-hmm.
was kind of his not coming out party because he played a full season, but kind of his like, oh yeah, this is about to be on this next year. And, he really hadn't had a great season since, and they fired their offensive coordinator, fired their O-line coach, a lot of, turmoil kind of surrounding that program. And I mean, he's got 11 passing touchdowns and 6 picks. I mean, that's not blowing anybody away. Barely has 2,000 yards throwing. But with all that said, I fully expect him to have his Superman cape on and have his best game. And so little, I don't know. I don't know if this is advice. I don't know. Just Tom Allen, if you're seeing this, which I know you will, don't take Sammy Brown out. Okay. Leave him in.
Don't.
Best player. He's your fastest player. Let him find Lenorse, and that'll be good. Don't go nickel. Don't go dime. Keep Sammy in the game. Just my quick advice, KG, if I could.
Mac, I think that's sound advice. I wonder what lesson made you learn that. What could make you think that you needed to give that
Right.
advice?
Right.
But yes, I agree. And what's interesting when you look at Clemson's defense and this challenge with Lenora Sellers, Clemson has been pretty good against mobile quarterbacks. Now, Haynes King excluded because Haynes King worked Clemson.
Yeah.
But Kevin Jennings, who again, he tweaked his ankle in that game, but he didn't kill you with his legs. Now he killed you with his arm, let's be clear. And then Castellanos, you were able to shut him down, and that was one of the defense's best games against Florida State. But, if anything, when you look at this defense, the defense has been probably the biggest problem for Clemson. It's not like the offense has been great, but, you scored 45 points in a game and lost. So that tells you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The secondary has been the biggest issue. So because South Carolina has struggled to throw the ball, that does, I think, help Clemson in this situation. Like maybe the defense can hold up a little bit. And I always like for a road team, especially in a game like this, that the game's at noon. I think that helps the road team. Maybe, and I don't think it'll be a sleepy environment, don't get me wrong. But I think having a noon game here versus this game being at 7:30 when a lot of people would have had some beverages perhaps,
Sure.
It's a little different. So I like that for Clemson. S&P rankings make Clemson a 0.1 point favorite. So virtually a pick 'em. If you think of Vegas giving like 3 points for home field, basically feels like this is a pick 'em. South Carolina's a 2.5 point favorite. I have no clue what to think of this game, Mac, what's going to happen. You'd think this offense, which has looked pretty good, is going to be motivated. Klubnik in his last guaranteed game, and we'll see what happens with bowls. I know Clemson is going to go bowling. I kind of think Clemson shocks us a little bit and wins this game. And I've picked against Clemson a lot this year. Like I picked against them at Louisville and all the other crazy games. I picked against SMU and all that, and Duke. But I just feel like with how weird this season's been, how up and down's been, Clemson just weirdly is going to find a way to win this game.
Yeah. Well, of course I'm picking that. I will say, Clemson's offensive line is banged up. South Carolina has a pretty good front. Not unbelievable world beaters, but maybe they'll look like that on Saturday. So just who can establish the run? Who can get the run going? Do you do that with a couple of backs if you're Clemson? Do you do that with your running back and your quarterback if you're, Carolina? Who can do that? And then what's the mistake that's going to happen? Is it special teams? Is it a fumble?
Yeah.
Is it a pick six? Is it a strip sack? Like something is going to happen. Either team can create it, and just who can get that done and who can make it happen will be fascinating to see. I'm with you though. I do think this is a true pick 'em. So of course, I'm going with our Tigers there and think they get it done. And there is something to just the back and forth nature. When you're on a streak and you haven't lost in this place since 2013, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
Over a decade. I know it's not consecutive, but it's over a decade that you haven't, lost there. So, I think they keep that up. The crowd will be juiced. The crowd will be packed. I mean, it's a great venue for what they do. But hopefully not for long.
Well, and from that perspective, Matt, Carolina did win this game last year. So you've got guys on this team, including Lenora Sellers, who thinks,
they've tasted it. No doubt.
We won this game last year. We'll be fine. And this is what we love about college football. This game doesn't matter at all, but it matters so much.
It means everything.
Yeah. And that's true in so many of these other games.
I will say this was funny. I read this earlier today. I think it was those years, early in my career, I think 11 to 14 or maybe before that, 10 before I got there, 10 to 14 or 13 maybe. Where Clemson, we were going to BCS, games and we were winning Orange Bowls, but we lost to them.
Yeah.
And fans would sit there and say, well, I'd rather be 7-5 and be well, guess what, buddy?
Guess
You
what?
got your wish. You shouldn't have said that crap 5-10 years ago. Now here we are dealing with it because of you, Jimmy, down the street. So you got what you wanted. So now Clemson just goes out and handle business.
The amount of radio shows that I did on that.
Yeah, you had to deal with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I would tell people you're insane.
Yeah. Well, I think during your radio time, I don't know if you lost to them as a media
Not
person.
on the radio. No.
Oh.
I did.
You're saying leading into the game, people
radio.
would say that. They would say they would rather.
Yes, they would say.
Yeah. They never
this
actually
would be like
deal with that, but they would say it.
This would be like a July show. Or, when Clemson beat Carolina by 21 in Death Valley, the national championship year, and it wasn't good enough, right?
Yeah.
It's just such a different time. Okay, Mac, let's run through the rest of these games. And there's so many here. And games that don't matter, but mean everything is truly, well, not Wake Duke. Wake Duke matters nationally. UNC, NC State. NC State 7.5-point favorite, 7:30 p.m. ACC Network. NC State's won 7 of the last 9 in this series, which is pretty impressive, including 4 in a row. What do you think about this one, Mac? And this is at Carter Finley. I think that's where I would lean was NC State's going to win this thing.
No question. And you can't tell me there's anything more that Dave Dorian would love to do than go walk across and shake, Belichick's hand and just with an L, hand him an L as he walks off the field. They want this. They want it bad. I mean, this game is very important, to this staff, and they understand that, and they've dominated it. I mean, it's been fun to watch. We've been at a handful of them, seen them up close and personal with our show there, and it's fun. That place is juiced up. Carter Finley is one of the best environments. Give me the pack to roll in this one. And you send the Tar Heels off with a 4-8 record. See you later.
Yeah, UNC did play pretty well against Duke, but I think NC State actually covers too, 7.5. The game that maybe means the most nationally left here, besides Notre Dame Stanford, we kind of already hit on. I assume Notre Dame's just going to kill them. Wake Forest at Duke, 3:30 ACC Network. 9-win Deeks. Repeat after me. 9-win Deeks. That's what we could have if Wake Forest wins this game. Duke's won 3 in a row in this series. Duke is favored by 1.5. Duke has been very good at home, and they're coming off a crazy loss to UNC. A crazy win over UNC with the fake field goal, which was insane. And one thing to keep in mind here, Mac, in general, Wake Forest has been one of the best teams against the spread in the country. Wake is 8-3 against the spread this season.
Wow.
That's
their record. That's their real record. How about that? It's rare.
That's right. That's right.
Fascinating to really see. And, Wake Forest, clearly coming off their best offensive game where everything was just clicking and it looked great. Now, I know the opponent. I truly do. But that's a nice confidence booster to say, why can't it look like this? I mean, this is a Duke defense that has really disappointed me all year long. I thought they would be a really steady Eddie unit and, be something that Duke could hang their hat on. That has not been the case there. Darian Mensah, as good as advertised, and he just has to cut down on the turnovers, which Wake Forest will take that ball away from you. So you've got to protect it. You got to be interesting there. How does Wake attack their run game? Because they are so balanced up there. And then just, what are they able to do? How are they able to operate? Is it big plays? Is it chunky plays? Do they methodically go down the field? I mean, a team that, beat SMU, team that should have beat Georgia Tech and beat Virginia. I mean, it's been remarkable to see this. And really, we were having this debate back and forth, KG, about Coach of the Year. Well, now that Coach Key's lost, I think it's Dicker's trophy. Like it's his, and maybe Tony if he's able to win it. That's why I really. Rhett got it last year. You're good, Rhett. You're done. You'll never get it again. You're expected to win. If Tony wins it, I don't know how you don't give him the trophy. So that's why I'm going to be really salty when we award this thing a day before an ACC championship is played. But give me the Deeks to cover, get to 9, and cannot wait to see who they play in a bowl game for 10.
Crazy. Also, the most ACC thing here would be Duke wins the game.
Wins by like 50.
This is one where I wouldn't be shocked. But I do think Wake is playing really well. So we'll see. I'm going to pick Wake. No. I refuse to talk about BC Syracuse. You're not going to make me talk about it. Okay. Let me ask it this way, because we have Kentucky, Louisville, noon, ACC Network, Louisville, 2.5-point favorite. Florida State, Florida, 4:30 p.m. ESPN2, Florida, 1.5-point favorite. Which ACC team do you feel more confident in getting the win in between those two games, which matters so much to both fan bases?
Yeah, probably Florida State, which I
Hmm.
don't know why. I do know why. It has everything to do with Louisville, nothing to do with Florida State. Louisville's hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
you and I might have to play in the game. I mean, they might
it's
call us
bad.
in. Like, they need help.
I'm ready.
Everywhere. Chris Bell's not playing. I know Isaac Brown's not playing. I don't know if the other Brown running back there is going to play. I don't know if Miller Moss is going to
Right.
play. Who's available? I don't know.
It's bad.
So with that said, yeah, give me the Noles going to Gainesville and being 2-0 against the SEC this year. It's unbelievable just to see what they might do here. It is going to be fascinating. I think both games are important though, just to kind of talk about the narrative, and you have to win those.
Yeah.
So if Clemson, Louisville, and Florida State do their thing, golly, and Georgia Tech, I mean that would, 4-way sweep. I'll be insufferable. I'll be talking crazy the next time I'm on TV.
Don't let that happen for Eric McLean.
Please. I don't need that. I don't need to talk crazy.
Mac, I think look, Kentucky's not good.
Yeah.
So, and Louisville's at home
Mm-hmm.
versus Florida State's going on the road. But Louisville, I feel like they're done. Like
Yeah, I do too.
that SMU effort was abysmal. And I
Yeah.
know they've got everybody hurt under the sun.
Right.
So I guess I feel better about Florida State. Florida won this game last year by 20. Here's the crazy thing, Mac. You're not ready. You know this. You already know this stat. If you think about it, you already know it. Florida State has not won a true road game since 2023. Actually, I think their last true road win was at Florida in 2023.
Really? Wow.
I think that's what
Full circle moment. Break the curse right here.
break the curse.
You
And
gotta get out of it.
S&P
Only way to
Plus
get out of it is go through it.
actually has Florida State as a nearly 7-point favorite. So that's interesting.
Let's make it happen. I'm in.
Yikes.
I love it. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, partner.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving to all of y'all. We appreciate you so much. It's crazy that it's rivalry weekend and that the regular season's over after this. Next time we see y'all, we will know who's in the ACC Championship, I think. Maybe.
Allegedly, Mac. Allegedly.
Who knows? Cannot wait. Going to be super exciting. We appreciate you guys so much. And let's just see how the rest of the way goes. It's going to be a ton of fun. So appreciate y'all, and go subscribe, jump in the comments, tell us what you think about all this crazy madness. And until next time, we'll see y'all.
Rollback just dropped their licensed game day collection. Polos, hoodies, Q-zips, custom designed for your school. On game days, we wear Rollback, period.